Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So you want to know about Islam in Brunei? It is a fascinating subject with a rich history and a complex present-day situation. In this overview, we will take you on a journey through the story of Islam in Brunei, from its early beginnings to its current situation. Let me dive deeper into the fascinating journey of how Islam came to Brunei and really took root there. You see, before Islam arrived, Brunei was heavily influenced by Hindu-Buddhist culture, like many other parts of Southeast Asia. The whole transformation began when Arab and Persian traders started sailing through the region in the 10th century. These weren't just any traders. They were skilled merchants who traveled along the maritime Silk Road, creating a network that connected the Middle East to China. The real turning point came in the 14th century when these Muslim traders started establishing more permanent connections with Brunei. They'd stop in Brunei's ports, not just to trade goods like spices, precious stones, and textiles, but also to rest and wait for favorable winds. During these extended stays, they naturally shared their faith with the local population. What's really interesting is how they did this. It wasn't through force or conquest, but through peaceful interactions, marriages with locals, and demonstrating Islamic principles in their daily business dealings. The Islamic influence got a massive boost when Awang Alak Betatar, who later became Sultan Muhammad Shah, converted to Islam in 1368. This is where it gets really interesting. After his conversion, he married a Johor Terengganu princess, which helped create important political and religious ties with other Muslim kingdoms in the region. He took the Arabic name Muhammad and became the first Sultan of Brunei, establishing a new era in Bruneian history. During the 15th and 16th centuries, Brunei became a major Islamic sultanate, even controlling parts of the Philippines and coastal areas of Borneo. The sultans who followed Muhammad Shah continued to strengthen Islamic institutions. They brought in Islamic scholars from the Arab world and other parts of the Muslim world to teach and establish Islamic education systems. These scholars, known as ulama, played a crucial role in deepening the understanding of Islamic principles among the population. The spread of Islam also brought significant changes to Brunei's legal system. The sultans gradually introduced Islamic law, or Sharia, alongside traditional customs. By the 16th century, Brunei had developed a sophisticated legal system that combined Islamic law with local customary law, adat, creating a unique legal framework that's still influential today. Another interesting aspect is how the Arabic language and script influenced Bruneian culture. The Jawi script, which is Arabic script modified for writing the Malay language, became widely used for religious and administrative purposes. This helped create a distinct Islamic literary tradition in Brunei that connected it to the broader Muslim world while maintaining its local character. Let me break down the religious demographics of Brunei in detail, because the numbers tell a really interesting story about the country's religious composition. According to the most recent comprehensive surveys, Brunei's total population is around 460,000 people, and about 67% of them, roughly 316,000 people, identify as Muslim. This makes Islam not just the majority religion, but the dominant force in shaping the country's social and cultural landscape. When we look at the specific breakdown within the Muslim population, it's pretty much exclusively Sunni. We're talking about 99.9% of Muslims following Sunni Islam, specifically adhering to the Shafi'i school of Islamic jurisprudence. This is really important because the Shafi'i school has historically been the dominant school of Islamic law in Southeast Asia, and it's known for its balanced approach to religious interpretation. The Shia presence in Brunei is incredibly small. We're talking about such a tiny number that it's statistically negligible, maybe just a few hundred people at most, mainly consisting of some expatriate workers from countries like Iran and Iraq. What's particularly interesting about these numbers is how they've shifted over time. Back in the 1960s, Muslims made up about 55% of the population. This percentage has steadily increased over the decades, partly due to natural population growth in the Muslim community, but also because of the government's strong support for Islamic institutions and values. The increase hasn't been dramatic or sudden. It's been a gradual, organic growth that reflects the stable nature of Brunei's religious landscape. Looking at the geographic distribution of Muslims in Brunei, the highest concentration is in the Brunei Muara district, where about 69% of the country's Muslim population lives. This makes sense because this district includes the capital city and is the most developed area. The Tutong district has about 11% of the Muslim population, while Belayet district has roughly 15%, and Temburong district has the remaining 5%. Another fascinating aspect of the demographics is the ethnic breakdown within the Muslim population. The majority are ethnic Malays, who are automatically considered Muslim under Bruneian law. But there's also a significant number of converts from other ethnic groups, particularly from the Chinese community, which makes up about 10% of Brunei's total population. When someone converts to Islam in Brunei, it's actually recorded and celebrated as a significant event, and these numbers are carefully tracked by the Islamic Dawah Center. The age distribution within the Muslim population is also worth noting. Brunei has a relatively young population overall, and this is reflected in its Muslim community. About 60% of Muslims in Brunei are under the age of 30, which has important implications for religious education and the transmission of Islamic values to the next generation. The government keeps detailed religious statistics through various institutions like the Department of Religious Affairs and the Ministry of Religious Affairs. They conduct regular census updates and maintain comprehensive records of religious affiliation, which helps in planning religious infrastructure and services. For instance, they use these numbers to determine where new mosques need to be built or where additional Islamic education facilities are required. Something that's really unique about Brunei's religious demographics is the official status of Islam and how it affects the numbers. Unlike many other countries where religious affiliation is purely a matter of personal choice, in Brunei, being Malay and being Muslim are legally intertwined. This means that ethnic Malays, who make up about 65.8% of the population, are automatically classified as Muslims. The law also prohibits Muslims from converting to other religions, which helps maintain the stability of these demographic numbers. The influence of Islam can also be seen in the clothing choices of many Bruneians, particularly women. The traditional baju kurung, a long tunic and skirt ensemble, is widely worn as a modest, Sharia-compliant form of dress. And in more conservative areas, you'll see women donning the hijab or niqab as an expression of their faith. When it comes to the geographical distribution of Muslims in Brunei, the highest concentrations are found in the more urbanized parts of the country. The Brunei Muara district, which includes the capital and its surrounding areas, is home to around 69% of the Muslim population. This is likely due to the greater economic opportunities and access to Islamic institutions, like schools and mosques, in the urban centers. That said, Islam has a presence throughout Brunei, even in the more rural and remote areas. The country is dotted with hundreds of mosques, suraus, smaller community prayer halls, and Islamic schools, ensuring that religious life and education are accessible to Muslims in every corner of the nation. The role of Islamic institutions in Bruneian society cannot be overstated. From the Ministry of Religious Affairs to the Islamic Dawah Center, these organizations play a vital part in promoting Islamic values, providing religious education, and overseeing the administration of mosques and charitable endowments, waqf. They also work closely with the Sultan, who is the official head of Islam in Brunei, to ensure the seamless integration of Islamic principles into governance and public life. One fascinating aspect of Bruneian Muslim life is the preservation of traditional Malay cultural practices that have been adapted to conform with Islamic teachings. For example, the Maulud celebration, which commemorates the birth of Prophet Muhammad, is observed with elaborate feasts, performances, and communal gatherings that blend Malay custom with Islamic reverence. Overall, the daily lives of Muslims in Brunei are marked by a deep reverence for their faith, a strong sense of communal identity, and a commitment to upholding Islamic values in both personal and public spheres. This blend of religious devotion and cultural heritage has created a uniquely Bruneian brand of Islamic practice that sets the country apart from its neighbors. When it comes to the topic of Islamophobia in Brunei, the situation is quite different from many other parts of the world. In fact, Islam enjoys an incredibly privileged and protected status in the country, so much so that there are virtually no organized anti-Islamic movements or significant instances of Islamophobia to speak of. The reasons for this are twofold. Firstly, Islam is the official and dominant religion of Brunei, enshrined in the country's constitution and deeply woven into the fabric of its society and governance. The Sultan of Brunei is also the head of the Islamic faith, and the government actively promotes and safeguards Islamic values and institutions. Secondly, Brunei's population is overwhelmingly Muslim, with around 67% of the people identifying as followers of the faith. This religious homogeneity creates an environment where Islam is the cultural and social norm, rather than a minority belief system that could potentially face discrimination or hostility. In fact, the Brunei government goes to great lengths to protect and promote Islam. The country has a dedicated Ministry of Religious Affairs that oversees Islamic education, the administration of mosques, and the propagation of the faith. There are also strict laws in place that prohibit Muslims from converting to other religions, further cementing the place of Islam in Bruneian society. Additionally, the government actively supports Islamic charities, endowments, Waqf, and other religious organizations, ensuring that the Islamic infrastructure and community in Brunei remains robust and well-resourced. This level of institutional support is quite remarkable and reflects the centrality of Islam in the country's governance and national identity. It's also worth noting that Brunei's brand of Islam, known as Malay Islamic Monarchy, integrates traditional Malay culture, Islamic faith, and the Sultanate system of governance. This unique blend has created a distinct form of Islamic practice that is deeply revered and safeguarded by the state and the people. As a result, you simply don't find the types of Islamophobic organizations, hate speech, or anti-Muslim sentiment that are sadly all too common in other parts of the world. The government and the public at large view Islam as an integral and unassailable part of Brunei's national identity, leaving little room for any significant expression of Islamophobia. That's not to say that Brunei is entirely free from any challenges or tensions related to religious identity. There are ongoing discussions about how to balance traditional Islamic values with the realities of a modernizing world and an increasingly interconnected global landscape. But these debates tend to happen within the broader context of preserving and strengthening the role of Islam in Bruneian society, rather than challenges to the religion itself. In summary, the status of Islam in Brunei is so deeply entrenched and institutionalized that the very concept of Islamophobia, as it is understood in many other nations, simply does not apply in the same way. Islam is the unquestioned foundation of Bruneian national identity, safeguarded by the government and embraced by the vast majority of the population. When it comes to the challenges and problems facing the Muslim population in Brunei, there are a few key issues that are worth exploring further. One of the primary concerns is the ongoing need to balance traditional Islamic values and practices with the realities of a rapidly modernizing world. Brunei has seen significant economic and social development in recent decades, bringing with it greater exposure to Western influences and globalization. This has created some tension as the Muslim community grapples with how to maintain their religious and cultural identity in the face of these external forces. For example, there are debates around the role of technology, media, and entertainment in Bruneian Muslim life. Questions arise about the permissibility of certain forms of social media, music, and other modern distractions, and how these can be reconciled with Islamic principles. The government has taken a fairly conservative stance on these issues, but there is an active discourse within the community about finding the right equilibrium. Another challenge is ensuring that the younger generations of Bruneian Muslims remain deeply connected to their faith and heritage. While the government invests heavily in Islamic education, there is a concern that some youth may be drifting away from traditional religious practices and interpretations. Maintaining a strong sense of Islamic identity amidst the pull of globalization is an ongoing struggle. The homogeneity of the Muslim population in Brunei, while contributing to a sense of unity, can also present its own set of problems. The lack of religious diversity means there is less exposure to different schools of Islamic thought and interpretation. This can potentially lead to a narrower view of what constitutes true or authentic Islam, and make the community less tolerant of divergent perspectives. There are also concerns about the potential for complacency or a sense of religious entitlement among the Muslim majority. With Islam so deeply embedded in Brunei's social, political, and economic structures, there is a risk that the community may become overly reliant on state support and fail to develop robust, self-sustaining religious institutions and practices. Ultimately, the future of Islam in Brunei will depend on the ability of the government, religious institutions, and the Muslim community itself to find a way to preserve the core tenets of their faith while adapting to the realities of the modern world. It's a delicate balance, but one that will be crucial in shaping the continued evolution of Islam in this unique and fascinating corner of Southeast Asia. Well, there you have it. A deep dive into the fascinating story of Islam in the small but influential nation of Brunei. From the religion's historic spread across the region, to the remarkable demographics of the Muslim population today, to the intimate details of daily Muslim life, we've covered a lot of ground. As we wrap up this exploration, I hope you've gained a newfound appreciation for the central role that Islam plays in shaping Bruneian identity, culture, and society. The delicate balance between preserving traditional values and adapting to modernity, the unique challenges faced by the Muslim majority, and the intriguing absence of Islamophobia. It's all part of what makes Brunei's relationship with Islam so distinctive. If you found this video informative and insightful, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content exploring the diverse religious and cultural landscapes around the world. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when I release new videos that dive deep into fascinating topics just like this one. So don't hesitate, click that subscribe button now and join me on this ongoing journey of discovery. I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.